Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, today it's all about the stamps because we're going to be collecting them. We're going to be building up a book of different stamps of all different types, different themes like animals and monuments and space and different colors. We're also going to be trying to, impress the judges and such. So let's take a look at Stamp Swap. This is the latest game from Stonemaier Games. I'll show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Stamp Swap, you're going to be collecting different stamps and laying them out in your book. They come in different sizes, and they come in 5 different colors, which is by the border of these, like yellow and purple and blue and brown and green, but also different types of themes. So we have a space theme, we have monuments, we have flowers, we have vehicles, we have animals. We also have forever stamps that help you fill in small spots, and some of them are worth certain points. There's a gold rare stamp that's worth 12. Some of them are worth points, some of them are faded and worth negative points. Now here's the main board, and over the course of the game, you're going to be going through 3 days at the stamp collection. You're going to be collecting stamps, swapping them, and then showing them to score points. Now let's talk about high-level points. What are you trying to do? Each game, there's different contests, and these cards are different each game. There's plenty of each of these different types here. At the end of each of the days show, you're going to be scoring one of these, and you're only going to be able to score each one once, and one of them you won't score. And so here, like this says, hey, for you're going to pick 2 colors, and you're going to get 2 points for each stamp of that color. You're going to pick 1 theme, 3 per each theme. Any rectangles that look like that, 3 per stamp. Canceled stamps, they're the ones that have that in the upper way. Also, at the end of the game, you're going to score again. This is also a finale that changes each game. This is perfect corners. We'll show you what that looks like a little bit later. It has to do with how the stamps lay out next to each other. So I got a 3-player game out here. During the collect phase, you're going to get 3 of these event cards. These are going to tell you what types of stamps are coming out, whether they're face up or face down, but also maybe some cards, some attendee cards, which sometimes can be exhibitors or sometimes specialists. They're also going to put the first player marker out there. So this tells you what is going out there. It's also going to give you 1 single event. So during the collection phase, players score 2 points each time you take a face down stamp. Okay, so for this event, anytime you take it face down, you're going to get 2 points. Now, on going clockwise order, each player's going to take 1 thing, and you're going to take a total of 6 of these throughout the round. So again, you could take a face down one and get 2 points for this. You could take a face up one. You could take the first player marker. You could take one of these cards. Like this one gives you an exhibitor. At the end of each round, you're going to get 1 point per purple stamp. Or this is at the start of each of your turns during this collection phase. You may view face down stamp in the pool. So once per round, you can look at one and look at it. So this might be good. It's also worth 2 points at the end of the game. By the way, so is the first player marker. And so basically what's going to happen is starting with who was the first player, they're going to select 1 thing. Now you didn't think I was going to pass up this nice rare one, did you? And they're going to put it in your daily collection. And everyone's going to do this clockwise order till everyone has 6 things. So as you can imagine, as things get, they disappear, you're trying to figure out what is the thing that is the most useful to you right now. And you're always constantly trying to pivot strategies, priorities, things like that. Then you're going to go into the swap phase. Now when you take a face down one, you can obviously look at it, but then you keep it face down. Now you can reserve 1 stamp, but it cannot be one of the rare ones, even if it is face down. So let's say maybe I put this one there and reserve it. Then I'm going to take the rest of these and I'm going to build 2 pools of them. Each pool has to have at least 1 thing in it. So here now I've split them up into 2 groups. I've got the rare and a forever and these other 3. Now these ones are face down. I know what they are, but other people don't. Maybe they're another rare one. And then going in clockwise order, players are going to take 1 from somebody else. Now let's say the first player decides to take from me. Let's say they take this one. They're going to take these and they're going to place it below their mat. Now because they took from me, that means I get these, which is interesting because as you put your two groups together, you're going to be getting one of those. So you're trying to put one that you like, but you're also going to try to entice somebody else for something else. So I'm going to get these and put them below my mat, but then it's my turn. So that was those pieces, and once you've taken them, you can flip them face up. And let's say I now select a group from another player, and I selected, they had this, this, and this. And you keep going until everybody has selected. Then you're going to lay things out. You must lay them out so that the points or the marker in the upper right stays in the upper right. You can't rotate them, move around. So they look just like that, and you can just arrange them any way you want. They can't overhang. They can't go on top of another stamp. But you're laying them out, and you're doing it for a bunch of different goals. For example, my board is I'm going to get 1 point per animal stamp. This is actually printed on my board. Everybody's board is different. That's why I was drafting a bunch of animals. But I also drafted this 1 per purple stamp. I only got 1 now, but I'm going to focus on purple for the rest of the game probably. I want to put another thing. These are canceled stamps, the ones that don't have values, have the little wave on there. Look at how many I put on the edge here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Also, let's look at some what's called perfect corners. I have these 2 stamps, these corners meet. These 2, even though this is one piece, it's considered 2 stamps. These 2, so I have a perfect corner here because 4 stamps touch. That's the only place I have that, but here I'm setting up another one for maybe a future round. That's because this game, perfect corner, is going to get me 4 each. So I'm going to plan on that and work on that throughout the game. Now I need to decide on one of these. Do I want to work on 2 colors? Do I want to work on one theme? Any rectangles? Canceled stamps on any edge? And this one, I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, right? So that'd be 10 points. Or do I want to work on that for the rest of the game? Thinking, yeah, that's going to be my focus, and do this in the last round when it's big. So you're trying to figure out, do I do a little bit now? Am I going to get boxed in? What am I doing? Well, considering that my board has the animal stamp, I'm going to wait for theme until the end because I'm going to get 3 per stamp. That's one theme, and I'm going to go with animals because it's going to combo with the one that's on my board. So now I'm going to do this one. So I'll put my ticket here. This reminds me that I can't do this one again. I'm going to get 2 per stamp. That's going to be 10 points. And I'll also score these, right? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more here, and I got 1 per purple. I got 1 there. Now at the end of the round, you'll discard anything that wasn't taken. This one gets discarded out of the game. These ones can come back in. They'll get shuffled in because you haven't actually used the event yet. These get shuffled in with this deck, and you set up a new round, and you'll do this for 3 rounds. Now on the 3rd day, on Sunday, you're still going to go to the show and score like normal, but then you're going to go to the final show, where those small little forever stamps, you're going to get points depending on whether you have the most, 2nd, or 3rd. You're going to look at all the stamp values in the corner of the stamp. Some of them are negative, some of them are positive. Then you're going to look at your specialist cards and your final contest cards. So that's pretty much it. Whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. All right, stamp swap. What do I like about it? First of all, beautiful production. Stonemaier always does beautiful production. Most importantly here, just the aesthetics of this. It just looks so beautiful. Just the art style, the colors, the tones, everything they use, it looks super nice on the table. This game has streamlined flow and mechanisms. It's 3 rounds, 3 little things. So you're collecting, swapping, showing, that's it, scoring. Super streamlined, but lots to think about, lots of interaction with players, not an ounce of fat on this game, and I love that. You can tell this was developed really well. I like that when you're getting stamps, you have face up and face down tiles, and those are in the pool. They're sort of pre-sorted, and I like that because it gives you, hey, do I want to get this thing that's okay for me that I can see? Ooh, or do I want to get this stamp that I don't know what it is? Could be a rare, right? And so you got a little bit of pressure or luck there, which is kind of fun. And I like that after you get the face down ones, obviously you get to look at it, but no one else does. I like that when you're drafting, a few things here. First of all, the I split you choose thing, I've always liked it in games. I always wondered, why isn't this used more? Well, in recent years, or recent year and a half, I'd say, many more games have been coming out using this mechanism. And I like it. I hope it doesn't become like overly used, kind of like how Roll and Rights just got like beat to death at one point. There's a good amount of choices for I split you choose games. This one does it really well. So when you're drafting, I like that you're doing it one at a time. So you're like, you're constantly juggling, what's my number 1 priority? This, I'm gonna take it. Well, I really want these 2 other things. Looking around, I'm not sure. You can see what everyone's goals are, right? You know which goals are in the thing. You know which possible other cards they have in front of them, those attendee cards. You know what they might be going for. You know what? I really want this thing, but I also want this and this. I think someone's going to take that one. So because it's not my number 1 choice, but I don't think it's going to be available when it comes back around, I'm going to pick it now, right? So you're constantly juggling priorities. You're pivoting mid-round as to, I was going to go for this, but now it's gone. So now what am I going to do now? What's the best thing I can do now? And I like that you're pivoting that. I like that the first player marker and the attendee cards are things that you draft, right? So it's like, how bad do you want to go first? Player order is pretty important in this game, and it gets you points at the end. So it's really important because you're going to be the first one to choose a set, right? And that's hugely important because you get first choice. Another distinct part of this is, also drafting the attendee cards is great too, because those things are really important, right? But when someone drafts the first player marker, if it's not you, as you're building your different collections to put out for swapping, if you know who the first player marker is, and it's interesting because when someone picks yours, you get to take whatever they didn't take. So you're always building your stamps as like, I want this, here's my group, here's a group that I think somebody else, or specifically this player, is going to love. I hope it's still there when it's their turn to pick. But knowing who the first player marker is, and depending on how early in the round they pick it, not only could you be drafting with them in mind, but even if they pick it last, like, okay, well, here's this group. I was going to set this aside for me and this for somebody else, but that player really wants probably this and this stamp. I'll move it over here. I'll still get some good things here. They're going to pick first. And I think I've made this interesting enough that they're going to pick mine first. Well, what does that mean? That means I get to pick next, right? And so now I'm the second person to pick, and I have more things to choose from, and I really want this thing over here. So it's like there's a lot of depth here that's sort of hidden beneath the boundaries of like just pick and choose stamps, right? I like that. I like that you're reserving one stamp, can't be a rare one, but you're setting yourself up. That also can kind of tell people what you're going to be working on that round, give people more things to build off of. So overall, it's everything works well here. I like that you're building for the contest cards. Now, and you can only do each one once, and each game they're sort of different. This, to me, is like the Isle of Skye scoring, or cartographers, where there's a few things, there's 4 different things they're going to score each game, possibly. And in those games, it was like, hey, this and this is scoring round 1, this and this is scoring round 2, this and this is scoring round 3, and you build your strategy around that. This uses the hook of that, but allows you to decide which one you score when. And I think that is an awesome twist to this little mechanism, where it's like, okay, I have 4 things I could possibly go for. I'm only going to focus on 3 of those. But which one am I going to get? Which one am I going to do now? Ooh, I got this one. I probably am not going to be focusing that long term for the end of the game. So I'll do this other one that's not going to score me a lot of points now, but it's not going to make me score this other thing that I've already been doing well, like in my example, the animals. I didn't want to score that for theme right away because I'm going to combo that with something else on my board at the end of the game or the last round of the game. So I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love the way the scoring works. You decide which one scores when at the end of which round. Great. And because of that, you have both short-term and long-term planning. And it's just great. The whole Isle of Skye cartographers thing is great, and changing it the way they did is just fantastic. I like that the specified orientation, you can't like move the stamps around. They always have to go with the thing in the top right. I like that because a lot of times with spatial games, if it's like, oh, I might want that group for you. Wait a minute, can I see if this fits? And I end up finding myself doing that a lot in polynomial games. With this game, you know, it's like, oh, that's a 2 by 1, right? In the upper right, it's this. It's going to go long ways or tall ways. You just know. You can tell by looking at it across the board, and you can visually see where that's going to go. They don't have any weird shapes, and you have to keep the orientation the same. And I think that speeds up what you think you could get. Because I was afraid when I read the rules of this, I was like, oh, it's going to be that problem that I always have with polynomial games. It's like, I'm going to grab something, I go, oh, hold on, guys, let me see if this fits. Oh, no, that's not the right one. I do that a lot in these games sometimes. This one doesn't have that problem, and I like that. And part of that is because you keep the orientation the same. The other half is the shapes are just, they're rectangles and squares. They're not all these crazy polynomial type things. The forever stamps, I like that they fit these small little gaps that can help you do things like perfect corners and such, but they also give you majorities. And oh, by the way, the majorities, interesting enough that if in a 2-player game, there's a variant where the third player has 3 of those. So you are fighting against someone, but you already know how much they'll have before the end of the game. I like that there's 2 different types of sets, so you're working on themes and colors. So let's talk about the things that the game's great. I don't have a lot of negative things here to say, so I'm going to be sort of thinking of things that could possibly be issues for some of you. First of all, this game could have analysis paralysis. I know some people that play I Split You Choose games and they just get locked up. They're like, oh my gosh, what should I do? So many choices. And it gives them analysis paralysis. If you have analysis paralysis in Split You Choose games, you're probably going to have it here as well. If you've never played I Split You Choose, but you have analysis paralysis in other games, you might have it here, especially with 2 players. Now recently, I was always like, I Split You Choose is better with more players. But recently a game came out from Reiner Knizia called Marabunta, which was like a 2-player I Split You Choose area control game. And it's like 2 mechanisms that don't usually work well with 2. And the master Knizia did it. The game's amazing, right? So now I had like a different thing of like, oh, okay, I Split You Choose with 2 players can work well. And in this game, if you have analysis paralysis, with 2 players, it's going to be even worse. This game is super thinky with 2 players because you only have, like, otherwise you're like, hey, I want this group for me, and I'll put this group for other people. If you don't want to look at what everyone else wants, somebody's going to want this, right? Like, somebody will take this. I don't have to look at every individual person. You can just play it that way if you want to. 2 players, it's like, I'm going to make a set for me. I'm going to make a set for them. What are they going to want? And it's like, you are absolutely studying everything they have, what they're doing, what they've scored so far. Like, you only have to hone in on one person because you're only crafting that for that specific person. The AP ratchets up with 2 players, but it's also the crunchiest, most thinkiest version of this game that I think some people might end up liking the best. This is a very personal thing that I am probably going to be in the far minority of this. The game has a beautiful vacuum tray that holds all the tiles. I found putting them all in the right direction and put them all in the right slots takes me longer than it does just to throw them in a bag. I don't like inserts. I just like putting components in bags, throwing the bags in the box, go. So when I'm done, I empty the bag out, I flip them over, good. Here you have to I feel like it takes more time to put everything, put it in the right order, stick them in the trays, they're falling over as you're putting them in, until, you gotta keep some pressure on them until you put them all in. I know most people would absolutely love this tray. For me, I'd rather have a slightly cheaper game, just give me bags. That's my personal preference. But I know I'm in the minority here. But that's it. Those are the only negative things I have about this. The game's really good, looks awesome, plays well. I think this is gonna be a big hit. Because of this, it is going to get my highest honor, a saxophone serenade. That's inducting it into my gaming library, which means I need to find another box that's this size to kick out once this thing moves from my new arrivals shelf onto the regular themed shelves. This will probably fit in my. This is a tough one. It's kind of like it might be in my sort of gateway games section where I call starting point, but it might be a next step game because there is a decent amount of thinking going on in the game. But either way, it's getting a saxophone serenade, so let's hit it. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and their 4.5 Kickstarter introduced the new Galactic Minecraft and Watson Game Toppers with interchangeable rail inlays, as well as new game mats, miniature gaming terrain packs, leg kit options, dining covers, accessories, and amazing package deals. The campaign recently ended, but it's not too late to pledge late at GameToppersLLC.com.